Hello and welcome. I'm Captain Mike Bland, the Commanding Officer of Media Relations Division with the Los Angeles Police Department. This critical incident community briefing is intended to provide you with information about a law enforcement-related injury, also known as a LERI, that occurred in Rampart Division in the city of Los Angeles on September 4th, 2025 at around 12 p.m. A LERI is a use of force incident where an individual requires hospitalization. You are about to see relevant video footage and learn about other evidence and police procedures related to the case so you can have a better understanding of what occurred, based on what we know right now. The LAPD conducts very thorough use of force investigations, which typically require investigators to interview multiple witnesses, view countless hours of video footage, and analyze a considerable amount of forensic evidence. We are still at the very early stages of this investigation, which can often take up to a year to complete, and our understanding of the incident may change as this additional evidence is collected, analyzed, and reviewed. We also do not draw any conclusions about whether the officers acted consistent with our policies and the law until all the facts are known and the investigation is complete. A word of caution. The images and information you are about to see may be disturbing. When a police officer uses force to arrest a suspect or defend against an attack, it can be graphic and difficult to watch. In addition, there may be strong language used by those shown in the video. As such, viewer discretion is advised, especially for young children and sensitive viewers. Rampart Patrol Division officers responded to a radio call for an assault with a deadly weapon, domestic violence suspect armed with a knife in the 300 block of Lafayette Park Place. The suspect was described as a female white, blonde hair, approximately 35 years of age, possibly under the influence, wearing a sweater and black socks, waving a butcher knife at the victim. Here is the 911 call and corresponding radio broadcast.
My name is in Westlake. I have one of my residents. I think she's newly moved in. I just started, so I'm still learning everybody. She's been having trouble with somebody who I believe is a boyfriend or something. And she's walking around with a knife, a butcher knife right now, and screaming out, "Oh, he's trying to kill me." Like, she's clearly on something right now. She said that he's also here and he's been beating on her. We were awakened to like a loud noise, glass thrown, scaring my other residents pretty much. She's being a menace. Something's going on.
Rampart units, possible AW domestic violence, 3 South Lafayette Park, 3 apartment, the front gate, suspect female white, mid-30s, blonde hair, sweater, black socks, waving a butcher knife. Suspect number 2, mid-30s, male, biracial, 6 feet, dark curly hair. Code range 1208 RD241, Rampart unit to identify.
The suspect was identified as Julian Douglas. Upon arrival, the officers saw Douglas standing in the courtyard of the location, armed with a knife with blood on her hands. The officers gave Douglas verbal commands to drop the knife. However, Douglas did not comply and quickly entered a nearby apartment and barricaded herself inside a closet while still armed with the knife. The officers followed Douglas into the apartment and continued to give Douglas verbal commands to drop the knife and surrender, but she remained non-compliant and refused to exit. A portion of this incident was captured on the responding officer's body-worn video. Body-worn video cameras are used by most officers assigned to field duties. They are worn at chest level and capture a general perspective within line of sight from that angle. The angle of the camera prohibits viewers from seeing everything the officer saw and experienced. Upon activation, both audio and video will turn on. However, body-worn video cameras have a buffer of video without audio from the previous 2 minutes prior to activation. This feature is designed to capture incidents that occur suddenly, where an officer doesn't immediately activate the camera. Here is body-worn video from the officers involved in this incident.
There's a female over there with a blonde hair. Oh, she has a knife. Oh, stand by right here. Hey, drop the knife!
Drop the knife, man! Don't approach the knife!
245, let me get a back up.
Don't approach the knife, man! Don't do it!
And,
stay away from the knife! Stay away from the knife! Man!
Female
Drop the knife! Man! I'm talking to you!
Armed with a knife.
She's armed with a knife. One person.
Hey, Julianne, she went into the bedroom. I didn't see anything else. Right. She was uncooperative. Hey, Julianne, it's the police. We want to help you. Julianne, go ahead and open the door so we can talk. Julianne, we saw blood. We just want to make sure everyone's okay.
A warning about Mexico and
We don't want this to escalate. We don't want to have to tase you or hit you with the 40 because it's going to hurt, okay? So just go ahead and come on out. Open the door.
In the restroom?
No, she was in the restroom.
first room right here.
Yeah, it's a bedroom. It looks like.
I know, are you able to see in that room, right?
Nah, it's like a...
Julianne, just open the door for me. You don't have to come here yet, but just open it so I can see you. Make sure you're okay.
After multiple failed attempts to successfully get Douglas to exit and peacefully surrender, notifications were made to Metropolitan Division, Special Weapons and Tactics, also known as SWAT, who responded and began formulating a plan to resolve the situation. A short time after their arrival, a crisis negotiation team attempted to establish communication with Douglas. However, she continued to not comply. After approximately 1.5 hours of failed attempts to gain voluntary compliance from Douglas, SWAT officers introduced chemical agents into the apartment. Moments later, as Douglas emerged from her apartment, still armed with a knife, SWAT officers deployed multiple less lethal projectiles and an electronic control device toward her. Douglas was struck by 2 less lethal projectile rounds and was subsequently taken into custody without further incident. Here is additional body-worn video from one of the officers involved in the incident.
Juliana, come outside, lay down.
Definitely a fastener. Johnny, do you want to give me a note?
Shut the door.
You got a knife! You got a knife! Johnny, do you want to give me a note?
Lay down, bro. Lay down.
You got a knife! She got a knife! She's got a knife! She's got a knife! Fire stick!
Stand by, we got it. Stand by, we got it. What's your hand? Your hand. We got it, we got it.
There's one, Okay, female will be in custody from giving orders.
After being taken into custody, the officers discovered that Douglas has sustained visible injuries as a result of being struck by the less lethal projectile rounds. Los Angeles Fire Department paramedics responded and transported Douglas to a local hospital where she was treated by medical staff for the injuries she sustained as a result of the use of force. While there, medical staff determined that the wounds sustained by Douglas required admittance to the hospital. Department policy defines any force option which results in an injury requiring hospitalization as a categorical use of force. In accordance with that policy, LAPD's Force Investigation Division assumed responsibility for this investigation upon learning that Douglas required hospitalization. Investigators recovered the butcher knife Douglas was armed with at scene and booked it as evidence. Douglas was absentee booked for assault with a deadly weapon other than a firearm. On September 8, 2025, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office filed the following charges against Douglas: 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon and 1 count of brandishing a deadly weapon to resist arrest. Julian Douglas is a 40-year-old resident of Los Angeles. In the next several months, the LAPD will continue to investigate and analyze this incident. We will continue interviewing any new witnesses that may come forward and complete any forensic tests as new evidence is found. After the investigation is complete, our Critical Incident Review Division will forward their findings to the Chief of Police, who will make his recommendation to the Civilian Board of Police Commissioners. The board will evaluate the evidence to determine whether the officer's tactics and use of force in this instance met the high standards expected of all LAPD officers. Additionally, the Office of Inspector General will conduct a parallel and independent review of the investigation and will provide its recommendations to the board. If you would like more information on how the LAPD investigates all serious use of force incidents, I encourage you to visit lapdonline.org, where you can find the LAPD's use of force policy and procedures. Thank you for taking the time to view this critical incident community briefing.